keep a close eye on Japan. We've known for a long time that Japan is super bullish on XRP. We've heard it from SBI, leaders of SBI. Then it was like a year, maybe a year and a half ago. There was some other representative from the financial system in Japan that was talking about the XRPL and XRP utilization. So we know they're super bullish on XRP. So when you hear anything going on that's like this, where they're trying to update or pass new bills so that they can loosen up the regulations on cryptocurrencies. And I told you, look how everybody's following what the US is doing. The US is trying to open the door for crypto to just run wild because they want to benefit from it. They need to. They have to. I told you years ago, the legacy system has been bleeding out. They've been suffering across the board, especially their financial system. They have to have it. DLT. They have to be a part of the new financial system. Without them, it's just like what the BIS said, the Bank for International Settlement said. They said if you don't, and I'm paraphrasing heavily, of course, but I mean, you've seen the quotes, you've read the documents yourself, right? So I'm paraphrasing, but they said something akin to, if you don't use these technologies, if you don't ingrain these technologies into what you're doing today, you're going to be left behind. Now, that left behind part is verbatim. And they told them 2 or 3 times. They told them in 2023, they said that. That was the first time I believe they said something like that. Then in 2024, they reiterated that. So now that they're seeing this huge movement in these powerful countries like the USA, where they're adopting this pro new financial system energy, other countries like Japan are doing the same. Now, here's the thing. Japan moves faster. This is what I'm telling you. The next year or two, watch Japan. I don't know if you have to set notifications. Like there's some search engines allow you to set like notifications for certain topics, or they allow you to curate the news that you get on certain topics, but you got to go into your settings. Maybe you do something like that. I don't know. Not financial advice. This is not advice, but I definitely do, because things like this could move the price of XRP. Why? What did SBI say? You got to listen to everything that they say. They said they had a myriad of clients, a bunch of them, that are looking forward or intend to utilize the XRPL. Now, whether they do or not, we don't know. People can change their minds. We do know that, right? They can change their minds. They can lie. Also, people can say one thing and do another. So there's no guarantees in any of that, but that's what they said multiple times. They even went as far as, do you remember this last year? This was in 2024, when they said that they wanted to find new ways for their clients to make money on XRP, from XRP. I mean, there's so much going on. Japan could be key to an explosion in price at some particular time. Now, what are they doing right now? This is what it says. It says last week's Japan's Financial Services Agency disclosed that a new bill, everybody's doing these new bills. Look, the golden age is coming. It's undeniable now. But wait, a new bill has been submitted to the National Diet to update the Payment Services Act, the legislation that governs stable coins and cryptocurrencies. Look how they're tackling both at the same time. And that's highly relevant because Ripple now has RLUSD. And once again, Japan was already bullish on XRP and the XRPL. It's not just making money off of XRP. It's the utility. People are forgetting about the utility. SBI and others were pushing the utility, the infrastructures of the XRPL and Ripple in Japan, the idea of it. So now, once everything is going to be unleashed, and obviously it's going to take a little bit more time, you still have things going on in the US to open the door fully to the golden age of crypto. Everything is taking place right now. At least we're watching the activity happen in real time. And now the same thing in Japan. So they have this bill. Does it go through? It's going to take time. But once it happens, what's stopping them from just running wild with partnerships? Why do I say that? Because if they've been taking meetings all of these years, one, if what SBI and Ripple and others have been saying about Japan is true, if it's true, and they've been talking to all these companies that are pro XRPL, pro XRP, if that's true, it wouldn't take long for them to establish partnerships, announce partnerships Like I said, over the next maybe year or two. I don't know the timeline. I don't work for these people, but it's a guesstimation because the foundations, the tracks have already been laid. It doesn't take that long. After you've been talking to someone for a while, after you've let them test the technology, they have gotten a sample. After they've worked with these companies like SBI and Ripple for so long, they have these relationships. So now to sign a deal, to establish a partnership, it may not take as long as these other countries who are now getting involved and they're brand new and they haven't done such a thing. You get what I'm saying? So this is something to watch majorly. So, I'm not too concerned with the whole stablecoin thing, but I understand the chess move that they're trying to make with the whole RLUSD. I think that could be major, 100%. I think that's a door opener for sure. But I like to put that to the side. It says, and cryptocurrencies. That's major. Right. There's a few places that there's just they're completely all in when it comes to. Well, this is what they allege. This is what they allege. This is what they say. There's only a few places that are 100% in when it comes to XRP, and they love it. Japan is one. South Korea is another. Right. And of course, there's like a 50-50 thing in the U.S. But of course, XRP has huge support in the U.S. And I'm assuming it's also that way in Europe and the U.K. But it continues on. It says the key changes relating to stable coins and crypto. I hate how they put stable coins first, but so be it. It says include more diversity in stable coin reserves. RLUSD 100% going to be included. I believe. I could be wrong. I don't think I am. There's no way that there's so many financial institutions are bullish on XRP in Japan and they just don't use RLUSD. And then once again, the mentality. Think about this. If you're going to use the lesser, the inferior product, why would you not want to use the superior? Anybody who has a high intellect or has a high worth or is running a business and wants to be the best of the best, you want the best of the best technology, period. And XRP is far superior for its by its utility to RLUSD. David Schwartz has let that be known multiples of times. And that's one of the reasons why he has to honestly come out all the time and say, listen, RLUSD is just a compliment to XRP because it is. It is. When you're talking about those advanced, remember this, advanced XRPL mechanisms. And you tell me, does it seem like Japan is a very advanced society? Yes, technologically speaking, absolutely. One of the absolute most technologically advanced on the planet. So they are used to the best of the best tech. So now going back to those advanced XRPL features, that can only be exacted with XRP. We read it right there. What is it? XRPL.org. Go read that stuff. It'll blow your mind. Some of those things like payment channels, etc. I know I always reference that. That's the one I read the most. I looked at the most, but there was something else, a few other ones. I just don't have the names off the top of my head. I can't remember them like that. But many of these mechanisms, you can only use XRP. So if you want things to be cheaper, faster, you want other abilities like to break up payments into multiple allotments of payments and be able to send them all, but it's registered as one payment, which is interesting. While the more transactions that you send, the cheaper the transaction fees become. You want things like that. You can only get those advanced mechanisms with XRP. That's it. They know that. That equals a lot of money being value possibly coming to XRP because they know that. And let me tell you something else. Whenever Ripple says something, they say it for a reason. When have we, right now, because now we're seeing the fruits of their labors, when has Ripple ever made an announcement and not followed up on it? When? They don't have to say something multiples of times. Just because they don't speak on it anymore doesn't mean that that's not something that they're going after or pushing for. It means we spoke powerfully enough that we don't have to continuously be talking about it. So when they say something like, for example, what did they say? That they were going to implement these advanced mechanisms. Have you heard about that yet? Have you heard any update? Well, we can also say that it doesn't mean they're not working on that. That means, hey, we told you, now we're going to be quiet and get to work. That's what I want a company to do. I want them to be quiet and get to work. I don't want a company that's yapping all the time. They're all over the internet and they're doing nothing. All this talking and they're doing nothing. No, Ripple's the opposite. They're going to tell you something, tell you what they're going to do, and they're going to hit the ground running. That's what I want. So now, if they said that they're going to implement these advanced mechanisms, right? I'm going to assume that's what they're going to do, because a lot of other things that they've said they were going to do, they did it. They stuck to their guns, right? They said they were going to fight the SEC and defeat them, and they did. They said they weren't going to give up, and they did. That's major. That's all I have to put on the table, boom, to establish that when they say something, I take it serious. Now, you got to start asking yourselves, who are the ones that will be using those advanced mechanisms? Because when you figure that out, then you know all this value is going to come there. It's going to be the banks. It's going to be the banks. Let me tell you something about the banks. You've been keeping up with the articles lately? I'm giving you stuff from a lot of different sources right now, but it's all very current. If you're reading crypto news, you're going to see these things I'm talking about. It's inevitable. If you're just scrolling through, you're going to see this. But did you see the articles? I think I may have one here where even the Bitcoin people have to admit that what people like myself have been talking about for years is real, that what's going to prop crypto up is the banks, that it's real. This is serious. I've been telling you for years. Now, even they have to agree. When they didn't care about the banks before. They were against the banks before. Oh, centralization and all the legacy system, oh, we're against it. But now they see the value is coming. That money makes you feel different, doesn't it? That money talks differently. They know that the value flood is coming. And it's going to boost things, not financial advice. Make up your own mind about this, my opinion. It's going to boost things like XRP. It's going to boost things like Bitcoin. Bitcoin is going to get touched as well. I told you this. I've been telling you this for a long time. The banks are not going to sit idle and let the regular people make all that capital. They had years to watch. They watched the first few bull runs. They watched the 2021 bull run and all these millionaires be made. And they say, you know what? We could do much better than that. If they can make that much, we can make this much. And what they said, what they thought about when they said this much was a vast amount of value, a vast amount of capital. They know how to play the game and manipulate the game better than anybody. So then you get articles like this. Bear with me. We got to run all this together. All of it fits together now because it's all coming together now. It does. Before it was the bank coins over here and the banks want the bank coins and they're doing this testing. Now the bank coins are doing that and now they want Bitcoin also. Right. So it's all fitting together. Everything plays its part. And here's the thing. It's not just that there's enough money to go around. There's more than enough money to go around. More than enough. And I mean, we're going to see in the future. But I have an article. Bear with me one moment. I want to see if I have that article that is an example of what I'm talking about. Look at this. I found it. This article tells you everything you need to know, folks. The title of it is this: Arthur Hayes unveils Bitcoin bottom price target. That's inconsequential. I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about Bitcoin, not even one little bit. I'm not a pretender. I can't pretend. Some people do that. I've seen it in person. Oh, woe is me, Bitcoin. That doesn't manipulate me. Your worries are not mine. Your mind is not my own. I walk my own path. So I can't pretend to be like, oh man, Bitcoin's price. Oh, it's not where I wanted to be. It's doing well. We survived a bloody bear market. Is okay, in my humble opinion. So I can't pretend. I'm not worried about Bitcoin. Now, moving on to the important part. This is the important part. So Arthur Hayes, so now this is a prediction. This is supposed to be groundbreaking when we've been talking about these types of things for years, have we not? Predicts central bank. We've even been talking about this the last few videos. Predicts central banks stepping in to buy Bitcoin. Right. Haven't I been talking about this? It's logical. Folks, I'm telling you. Listen. What I do best is analyze situations and research. I've been doing it my entire life. I see something, I break it down in my mind. I can't sleep unless I feel that I understand something thoroughly and have researched it thoroughly. I take pride in what I do. And it's not a good thing to be a prideful individual. I'm not saying I'm a prideful individual. I'm saying that I want to be the best. Period. Okay, so when I say something, I'm very, very serious about it. It doesn't mean every single time I'm going to be right. No, but I'm very serious about it. And now you see the banks are taking over. The people know it. Even Bitcoin maximalists can't deny it. They can't deny it. What does that tell you? If they want Bitcoin, what do you think they're going to do with the bank coins, folks? It's coming. Bitcoin has no utility. None. And don't get me wrong, I love Bitcoin. I'm going to make a lot of, I want to make some value off Bitcoin. I'll just say that and keep it humble. But it has no utility. None. There's only so far it can go. If they're going to step in, and once again, if you want to understand the potentiality of what can happen with Bitcoin, look at gold. That's what I've been saying for a long time now. Look at gold. And here's the thing. The difference, though, is where the potentiality is, because gold is a real tried and true store of value. No one who's in gold is going to turn their back on gold to go into to place the bulk of that value that was in gold into Bitcoin. Nope, I just don't see it happening. But Bitcoin is what? It's a money maker. And that's why the people are coming to that realization. It's not about store of value with Bitcoin. It's about it being a money maker. Now, you may say to yourself, what makes you say that, Mick? We've seen all of these professional companies that track wallets. And what have they been saying since last year? They've been showing you evidence that long-time Bitcoin holders are selling. They've been selling. Why? Because they realize what? They float the idea of Bitcoin is a store of value. Yeah, sure. A lot of times I think that's just to make people want to or desire to hold Bitcoin. That makes people desire to hold Bitcoin when this idea is floated around. Meanwhile, all these other people are selling. And most people don't have enough time to keep up with the news, so they don't know that the people are selling. They don't know who's selling. And then Bitcoin, they get sold on it. Bitcoin price goes down. They have to experience and live through that volatility. But those longtime holders, a lot of them have been selling Bitcoin. Why? Because I think they have the realization Bitcoin's a moneymaker. Right? It's not necessarily the store of value that the people intended it to be. And now that you have the big businesses stepping in and taking over, now that you're going to have the central banks stepping in and taking over. And I told you, I believe that. I believe that. The central banks are not dumb and they want something else to play with. Look at their sales and their purchases and sales of gold. They want something that they can skyrocket the value on. That's going to come from both Bitcoin as well as other things like XRP. Folks, pay close attention. If you start hearing any information about those banks going in on a so-called digital stockpile, sort of like what the USA is doing, they're all going to want to play because that can be a major catalyst to skyrocket those prices. And if a person, let's say a person doesn't want to hold long term, they don't believe in these things long term, and some of us do, some of us don't. To each his own. But if you're not in it long term, you need to know these catalysts to be able to move. Boom, 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 boom. Because it's going to move quickly. To those moments where you can sell and you take profit. It's going to come, and everything's going to happen very fast, very quickly. That's the best I can say. My apologies as I stumble. I have so many thoughts. But even they know that's huge, huge. Now look at this. So now I have to jump around a little bit. So you have this individual here predicting central banks stepping into Bitcoin as stock markets collapse. There's no correlation. One doesn't have anything to do with the other as of right now. I'm going to stand on that. Plenty of us are in the stock market as well as into crypto, and I don't see any correlation. I treat crypto as its own thing. I think most do. So they're going to go heavy into crypto because it's still new. Yes, even after all these years, it's in its nascent stages, its baby stages. It's just being unleashed now. You're just getting pro-crypto legislation and pro-crypto energy in the U.S. and globally, mostly. So it's still new. So it's something to play with. It's something that hasn't been pumped to the max. It hasn't. And they're going to. That's one thing I think people need to keep in mind. To be quite frank, it hasn't been pumped to the max. And that's despite, because I know you're saying, I saw some pumping of crypto. That's regular people, regular crypto whales. That's regular individuals. No disrespect. That's not the big businesses. It's not. If it was, that's not the central banks. That's not the governments. All of those forces are converging on crypto right now. So that's going to be a massive pump when they decide to. And coming out, did you see the video from yesterday? And coming out with such a statement, I think it was yesterday's video, I believe it was, such a statement where they are proclaiming they want to hold Bitcoin. Not just hold Bitcoin. That wasn't the one yesterday. It was about the one yesterday, I believe, was about them wanting to maximize XRP's value. Really? And that's coming from representatives in the government, from the U.S. Treasury specifically, I believe. Folks, that's huge. There's a massive moment coming for crypto. Bitcoin is in there as well. Sure. Those altcoins. And, I'm trying to stay as balanced as possible where I'm giving you the information, but I also have this excitement inside of me. I feel excited. I've waited for years. I won't even say I've waited for years for crypto to be unleashed. I knew it was coming, and now it's here, and I'm excited to see what happens. Now it's the fun time now. So I do have this excitement. But I'm trying to stay balanced where it's not. I'm just sharing mostly my excitement and not enough information. But I think I'm sharing a lot of information. If people want to look things up, I think I'm providing a lot here. But yeah, there's a massive moment coming. So let me give you reasons why, right? Just in case there's a lot of new people subbing to the channel every day from what it appears, right? So RWA, I didn't even talk about that. RWA, we're talking trillions, folks. Trillions of dollars are going to be brought to these utility coin chains. That in itself is going to explode those prices. That's one catalyst. Interbank payments. In any type of bank activity, because I'm going to phrase it that way because now Bitcoin is going to be involved. So let's just say bank activities, but when it comes to utility coins, interbank payments, let's just be real. That is a lot of value. We're talking billions to trillions per month flooding through some of these chains, whichever ones are chosen. And I think we see which ones have been chosen. I think we see that clearly. And there's going to be a few others. I think we know who those are as well. So interbank payments, that's a second major catalyst. There's some info for you to research if you're new here. Payroll. My goodness. Because that's if they can have companies putting payroll on these Bankcoin blockchains, that's a consistent value that's going to be unbelievable. Unbelievable. Each one of these is propping that price up a little bit higher each time. The low that it can achieve, yes, the low is going to be super high. I don't see any way around it if all of this continues on the trajectory that it's been on. I just don't. That's three catalysts. B2B payments. That's trillions. B2B. Who does it better than us? No one. They had problems even recently. I mean, with the RTGS and all that kind of stuff like that. I mean, we're going to dominate. Just do your research into that. Look into that. B2B. We're going to dominate when it comes to B2B payments. Then regular cross-border payments, we're going to dominate with that. There's no way, in no way can they compete with us from the legacy system. They have to become us. They have to leave their old identity behind and they have to become us. The very nature of the legacy system is going to change. And that in and of itself is going to result in a massive amount of value moving through these Bankcoin blockchains. Period. That's a fact. They want transparency. There is no other system that can provide transparency like the DLT Bankcoin system. They can't do it. This is why you hear all of these rumors of them possibly investigating some of these Bankcoin blockchains for utilization. And these are powerful figures being associated with them. Why? Because the U.S. wants this transparency. China wants this transparency. And then all of these global powers now apparently and allegedly want transparency. They want to see where these monies are going, where these items are shipping, because money has gone missing. Massive amounts of value. I covered that for years about for example, the Pentagon failing audits. We covered that many times over the years, right? It's just now that it's become popular and now people are covering that. They want to know about things like that. Where's that money going? Items. They ship certain items here and those items just go poof. Then they show up in another part of the world. They want that tracked. QR codes are going to track those. We've already seen that be nearly perfected by companies like VeChain. right? And we know that Ripple is one of the pioneers of offline QR code payments. Why are they so quiet on things like that? Shh, why? Because when you're quiet, that's when you're making partnerships and deals. You're allowing companies to test it out. Then later on, you get noisy. You become noisy again, which means you're going to come out to the media and let them know the results. It's not result time yet, but that's a good thing because now we know that there's activity taking place. They have to make value. They have to put in work, and they have been. So, I mean, that's a whole lot of catalyst right there. So, now that you have the information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, everybody, let's get to the money.